How's it going today, everybody? This is Kaiju Addict, your host, and today we are deviating from the Kaiju figure reviews a little bit, and we are looking at the SH Figuarts Final Form Cooler figure from the Dragon Ball Z line. This is the movie that really started it for me for Dragon Ball. I already knew what Dragon Ball was. I was watching it on TV a little bit, but Cooler's Revenge is the first movie I remember ever having and owning. I know I rented 2 of the VHS sets from the library or Blockbuster, one of the 2, the Majin Vegeta episodes, pretty much. But this was the first one. This is the first Dragon Ball anything I owned was Cooler's Revenge. Many good memories. I mean, one, the movie's great. Cooler looks awesome. Super Saiyan Goku's epic in it, even though he's only in it for a few seconds. And the soundtrack to the American version of these movies are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Disturbed, Drowning Pool, Pantera and Broly, you've got all these metal bands that really, this movie shaped is a good indicator to what I've become. So, let's dive right in and let's appreciate Cooler for a little bit. So now I've had him open for about a day. And boy, am I absolutely in love with this figure. Just look at how nice he looks. He is jam-packed with detail. All the white. I don't really think it's armor. It changes with him. So, the muscle plating, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's ever explained in Dragon Ball what it is, but it looks awesome. That face sculpt, excellent. Now, when we first had this figure revealed to us, I thought there was actually 2 different eye sets. There was one that looked a little bit wider, and then there was this base one. As we come to find out, this is the only eye sculpt. We do have an unmasked face. But through posing him around, you really get just how they sculpted the crown. You pull that off to change heads. You can really get it. His eyes look really thin there, but then you get it up and it looks a little bit more wider. So you just have to position the head to really get the finer detailings of the eyes. The tail, super long, all hard plastic. Looks good. You can see the muscle-y skin textures. He's got these horns on the back. Personally, I wish they were a little bit longer, but it's how it goes. All right, so let me set him back there quick. Let's look at his accessories. So Cooler comes with a bit. As I mentioned, he has an alternative head. That's the unmasked head, where he's smiling. It looks good on the figure. You just pop the crown off by pulling it forward, and you pop the head off, and you put this one on. I'm not gonna do it. Most people have probably seen it by now. I'm really late to getting this figure. FedEx delayed this package probably about 6 different times. So, yeah. I'm glad to get him, though. I know they're busy. So, he's got different feet, like his brother Frieza. He's got 2 grippy, floating, attacking feet. Very large, by the way. Very large. That's it in the palm of my hand. Big, big feet. So, if you're into that, there you go. He comes with 3 other sets of hands besides his fists. Pretty standard Dragon Ball hands. He comes with these open palm blast hands. Looks good. Nice detail. The nails are painted. He comes with style pose / gripping / different style energy blast hands. I love it when figures have these. I love it. Sometimes they don't, aka Frieza. That's why Cooler is better, because he's actually getting each finger and each side for each hand. Speaking of, we got his Death Beam / Death Ball hands. These are very nice. The one thing I wish, as you can see, they are kind of curved, pointed down. I wish they were straight. That does bother me. I like the full index rather than the curve like this. I like the point. That was always the nice thing with the Frieza figures, is that they had one that was curved like this, and then they had one pointing finger. but I digress. The hands are easy to swap. You just pull off the hand, pop it in. Regular SH Figuarts wrist joint. So let's get to the articulation, the main piece to this figure. His head is on a double ball peg. It's not on a hinge joint. So when you get him to look up, he looks really, really far up just on that head joint. When you get him to look down without the neck joint, he looks all the way down. And then he looks extra down and extra up. Obviously it turns. You can kind of tilt it a little bit, but not too much. The head joint on mine's very tight, so I'm not really trying to extend it. It's loosened up a little bit, but not too much. So it's a nice hold on there, which is nice. The shoulder pads go in and out, and then he's got these wonderful butterfly joints that you can extend out and in. Now, depending on where you have the shoulder pads, depends on how far they can go in. But they go quite a bit forward. So if you have the arms posed forward, they can almost touch. Of course, if you adjust the arms and the other ways, you can get them crossed. Remember, this is a bulky figure. This isn't a Goku, so it's not like he's going to be able to do some of the crazy poses like Goku, but this guy's still got a lot of posability. The shoulder joints go way above 90 degrees. They go forward. He has a bicep swivel, which isn't limited like the Super Dragon Ball movie Broly figures, thankfully. Double jointed elbow. As I said, he's got a hinge joint on this wrist, so it turns, spins, does all that. They're nice and tight, so they hold a pose. That's probably one of my favorite things about this figure overall, is that all the joints are nice and tight, but they're not too tight. They're a little awkward here with the camera and everything in front of me, but when it's just me and the figure, it's super, super smooth. All right, so he's got two waist joints. So he's got this top one. So that's as far as it goes down on the top, which is really nice. Doesn't really go back. Does have some side to side, and it has all the twist. Now this bottom one is very interesting. So when this one goes down, that's about far as down as it goes. So when you got them both in there, it's got a pretty good crunch. Now, when your waist joint is down, you actually can't articulate your legs up. I'm like actually trying to force it because the mold line goes right where these joints go. So if you need to move the legs, make sure that his waist is all the way up, then you can move it. And then you can kind of pose it. So there's the hip joint all the way up, full 90 degrees. And you can almost do the splits. Very nice for this large figure. Oh, nice and tight. He's got a wonderful thigh swivel. Double jointed knees, which are really good. And then his ankles on those same ball pegs a little bit. So he doesn't have a lot of turn, or a lot of pivot, I should say, when you're just basically just in there as I was. But when you get him in the position to actually move, he's got a ton. You can actually get him to do his almost splits and get the feet to support that. So they do go all the way down. They don't have a lot of up, but they still have a little bit of up. For the final points of articulation in the tail, ball joint. Now note, this top side has a little bit less open as that. So when it's turned like this can go all the way in. It's turned like this, it doesn't go as far in. And then it's the same thing with this other joint. One has a little bit more articulation than the other side, but you can twist and turn and do all that. So Cooler, very thankfully, not only is accurate looking, but he has the articulation, the articulation to boot. Just one more thing to look at, I guess, and that's the size comparisons. And that is the only downside to this figure. Watch me get a little bit of excitement there. This is the one thing. He's still big. Um, he's still big, but he's not quite size accurate. So here's the Awakening Goku. In the movie, if you've seen it, there's a scene where Kaioken Goku, before he transforms into Super Saiyan, is fighting him, and he's moving, and Cooler teleports behind him. Goku's sitting there like this. Goku is way smaller than this. Goku's legs, like the bottom of his feet, are like where Cooler's knees are, and his head is still about right there. So this Cooler could have used some more size. But is it still bad? No, it still looks fine. He's still super big, he's bulky, it looks nice. I'm just gonna bring out all the Figuarts, Dragon Ball Z figures that I kept. I didn't keep many. I pretty much made it to the point where if I open up a figure and it doesn't wow me, I'm not keeping it, you know? So Cooler, I was absolutely blown away by. This Goku, obviously still one of the best figures in the line. Rose Goku Black, I love this. I sold my OG one, actually, because I actually do prefer the translucent hair, so yeah. So there's the size comparison with normal Saiyans. And then the big boy, we've got legendary Super Saiyan Broly here. Cooler's dwarfed by Broly, which, to be fair, is accurate. You should never compare the sizes of the characters in the games, but in every single game, Broly is normally a head taller than Cooler still. And then the last figure, the kaiju of the Dragon Ball universe, as some might say. Let's see if I can even get him in the shot. Oh golly. We've got Vegeta, Great Vegeta, which Cooler's obviously dwarfed by. This figure is supposed to be large. It's funny how big this figure is, the Great Vegeta, and yet he's not even size accurate to the show. And just to put his perspective on how big that Great Vegeta is, he's just smaller than the 2019 Ghidorah wings fully upright. So just like a hair. So a large figure. So that's about it for the comparisons, and really that wraps up the review. I'm really glad I was actually able to keep this pretty quick. Cooler here is stunning, to say the least. Some of it is biasness, but really there's not much to point out about this figure that's wrong. Pretty much all the joints have very good mobility. You know, they're tight, so they're not going to get loose over time, and they still have the range that you would need. The only thing that's against this figure really is, you know, a lot of people complain that there's not a lot of shading. There's a little bit in the muscle definition, but there's not too much. And he's not completely as tall or as big as he should be, but he's still a large figure. So, I mean, if we're being honest here, he gets a 10 out of 10. Yes, Cooler here gets a 10 out of 10 for me. Definitely keeping this figure 100%. This is probably my favorite Dragon Ball figure now that's still in my collection. Even if I still had the whole collection, this guy would probably be my favorite. So that is it, guys. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. This is Kaiju Addict, your host. If you happen to enjoy, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm normally looking at kaiju things, but every now and then I'll bring out these Dragon Ball figures just to show that I still love Dragon Ball. Anyways, peace, rock on, stay safe, and remember, cooler is cooler. Bye, guys.